Hello and welcome everyone to IT Knowledge Base. I am Nadeem Ahmad Ali Mir with you. In this video, I am going to show you how to use Certify SSL Manager through UI tool, which is a SSL generator tool for your single and wildcard domains. This is a 3 months free public certificate, and you can use this certificate in your own premises or on your cloud servers. For example, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platforms, Exchange Server, IIS servers, remote desktop services, Apache, Nginx, etc. You can manage free HTTPS certificates for your IIS, Windows, and other services. This is a professional certificate management for Windows and powered by Let's Encrypt. The good part of this tool is you can easily install and auto-renew this free SSL TLS certificate from Let's Encrypt and other ACME certificates authority. I am personally using this tool to generate Let's Encrypt free 90 days single and wildcard certificate for my servers. Certify the Web is a tool to generate Let's Encrypt public certificate used by many thousands of organizations to manage millions of certificates each month and is a perfect solution for administrators who want visibility of certificates management for their domains. Centralized dashboard status reporting is also available. Simply install the app on your server, set up the domains you want to manage certificates for, and let the Certify the Web software take care of renewing and optionally deploying the certificates. Let's talk about some features of this tool. This is a simple, professional, and powerful automated certificate management. You can create an easy certificate request and automate SSL binding in IIS, simple certificate request, authorization, deployment, and auto renewal. Ideal for Windows servers running in IIS but can be used with other services like Apache or in Nginx. Manage one certificate or several thousands in single window. Detailed preview of the certificate request processes and plan automated deployment steps. Create certificate for your single domain or if you have a multiple domain or if you need a wildcard domain for your whole to cover your whole domain. This is a free 3 months public certificate for your web security. In advanced features, the app supports a wide range of pre-built deployment tasks and your own scripting technology. This enables you to perform all kind of different custom steps with your new or updated certificates. In advanced features, you can configure deployment automation, deployment task for zero scripting automation of common deployments including Microsoft Exchange, remote access VPNs, remote desktop services, Apache, Nginx, Tomcat, and other services which requires to convert in PEM or PFX format certificate files. Many other advanced features to help your organization work with your certificates. Okay, now check the requirements and limitations. Windows Server 2012 R2 or higher with .NET Framework 4.6.2 is recommended. SNI server name indication has now made it possible and improved to host more than one SSL certificate with a single dedicated IP address. IIS version below 8.0 have lack of SNI support, which means that only one certificate can be used per IP address. You can install and you can use Windows Server 2008 R2 with .NET Framework 4.6.2. You can install this tool in Windows 7 with .NET Framework 4.6.2. HTTP or DNS challenge validation is required. To request a certificate from Let's Encrypt or any other certificate authority, you need to provide some kind of proof that you are entitled to receive the certificate for given domains. Let's Encrypt support two types of method of validation to prove control of your domain. HTTP 01 required validation over HTTP and you have to enable port 80 from your firewall. And the second one is DNS 01 required validation via DNS after creating TXT record in your public DNS manager. Wildcard domain certificate can only be requested using DNS validation. We will cover both challenge validation in our upcoming demo lab. My recommendation is to use Server 2012 R2 at least, and newer is always recommended. However, you can still use Server 2008 R2 and Windows 7 but you have to keep in mind that only one certificate you can use on single IP address. You have two options to validate your certificate for your domain: HTTP or DNS. You will look both in this video. For HTTP validation, you need to open port 80 from your local firewall, which is redirected to your web server. For DNS validation, you also have to create a TXT record in your public DNS zone to verify your domain ownership and certificate issuance. Okay, so my lab arrangement is I am running domain controller on server 2019 standard, IIS version 10 web server on server 2019 standard. I'm also using pfSense firewall in my virtualized environment with port forwarding enabled TCP port 80 and 443. Port 80 is only required for HTTP 01 validation, otherwise we don't need this, and port 443 is for accessing secure web over the HTTPS. I'm also using my cPanel for creating and managing my own DNS records. You can use your own DNS manager to create and manage your DNS stuff. For example, we need to create DNS record for your website. For example, website1.yourdomain.com or www.yourdomain.com, and a valid host A record for your website. You can download this UI tool from certifytheweb.com, or you can run PowerShell commandlets script to download and run from the Certify the Web and install it in your server. Okay, so now let's start and move on to our demo lab. Open certifytheweb.com and click on download and install in your server. Installation is very straightforward. You just have to leave everything default and press next until you finish the installation wizard. Now click finish and run the application. Okay, so now Certify the Web console is now open. This is the community edition, as you may check on the top of the application. Click on the new certificate. You may receive a pop-up about getting started by registering a new contact. Then you can start requesting certificates. This is required to receive further notification if any certificate required renewal. Enter your email address, place a check mark on yes, and click on register contact. After you click on new certificate, you have to provide your certificate friendly name, IIS existing site name, which is default site name in my case, and domain name to add in the certificate. Click add. Make sure you have created host A record in your DNS manager and it's probing fine to your web server. In the authorization property sheet, here you have to decide how to validate domains. We will go for HTTP validation. In the site root directory, you have to provide your website root directory location. Click on your default website, then click on the basic settings option in the right action pane and note the physical path. Set the domain match text box to your FQDN and click on the deployment sheet. In the deployment sheet, perform the following operations. Change the deployment mode to single site from the drop-down list. In the binding, add update, leave add or update HTTPS binding as required. In the matching any of section tick the binding hostname, not specified, IP only or all assigned option. Next, in the IIS binding settings, we select the auto create update IIS bindings uses SNI options. Click on the task sheet and leave everything default. Then click on preview sheet and verify your settings in the summary page. Change if anything is required. In this demo, we have requested for subdomain website1.nowhost.co. Domain validation is HTTP-01. Review the deployment section. Certificate signing request using RS-256 signing algorithm. Check on deploying certificate to your site. Next, we click on the test. On a successful test, we proceed by clicking on the request certificate. Finally, in progress tab, it shows the status of success. After seeing success, your certificate has been generated and you can use this certificate in IIS. Now your 3 months free public certificate is generated. In IIS, verify your certificate certainly issued to your desired domain, issued by and its validity. Right click on your website, edit binding and verify its mapping correctly. Now let's test our newly generated Let's Encrypt certificate. Open your web browser and browse your secure website. Verify your certificate information and their authenticity. We have another subdomain called website2.nowhost.co. Let's browse first and verify if it's secured with SSL and TLS. For sake of best practices and familiarity with this UI tool, we will generate another certificate very quickly. As you have seen now, we have generated our free public Let's Encrypt certificate for our single subdomain. Now let's generate for a wildcard certificate to cover up full domain and subdomains with DNS validation method. Although certificate generation procedure is the same, except few changes. Change challenge type to DNS validation and generate TXT record in our public DNS zone. So let's start. Create new certificate, name it exactly to match with your wildcard certificate name. Choose your IIS site. Add wildcard domain name, for example, static.yourdomainname.com. then press add. New message pop up which remind you to change the challenge type to DNS under authorization sheet. Just press OK. Second pop up message, simply click on no. We don't need non wildcard version as well. Click on authorization sheet. Change challenge type to DNS. In the DNS update method, choose your DNS manager. For example, GoDaddy, and provide the necessary credentials to make everything automatic. Otherwise, we will go with the DNS update DNS manually. Press OK to accept the difficulty in managing DNS records. Enter your email address. Enter your domain name. Click on deployment sheet. In the deployment sheet, leave it automatic. Click on the task sheet and leave everything as default. Then click on preview sheet and verify your settings. Then next, click on the test button. On a successful test, we proceed by clicking on the request certificate. We have noticed here the certificate request is paused due to some missing DNS TXT record. Click on Manage Certificate tab and let's check for obvious action to take. We have to create a TXT record in our DNS manager. After successful DNS TXT record creation, we will rerun the certificate request again. This time certificate request creation is successful. Let's verify in IIS and browsing our website with wildcard certificate mapping.